I know it was junior year of high school and it was the last day of school. A lot of people cut school this day or left early after lunch period. My friends and I were some of the latter. It was a stormy dark day. A bunch of people from our grade originally planned to hit the beach on the last day of school. But that was obviously cancelled. My smaller core group of friends decided to do something else. There used to be an abandoned elementary schools in town that had not been used for like 10 years. There were plans to tear it down by the years, and so still wanting to do something fun on the last day of school, we all agreed to break into the building and just around exploring. There were no cameras in that old building. And on a stormy day, no one would be outside monitoring the place or anything, so we all left. After lunch period, our friend Eddie already had a car in his license, so he drove us all the bandit school. The school was in the middle of neighborhood, not on any main roads or anything. There was a back parking lot covered by overgrown bushes and trees on one side and the walls of the schools on two other sides. It was a perfect spot to park and go unnoticed. The place was not boarded up or anything. It was just locked up. Eddie had a baseball bat in his trunk that he took out to smash one of the windows of the school. I was honestly so nervous that even through the pouring rain, one of the houses over the fence would hear the smashing sound. We all watched and nervously laughed as Eddie swung the bat into the window in front of the car. And after a few good swings smashing it, he pushed away the straight pieces of glass stuck to the frame with a bat, and then he waved us over. We one by one climbed through the window onto the school. My logic was that the school was being torn down anyway. What is a broken window matter? We all were inside the building. Now, the window we climbed through was actually one of the windows for a classroom. A lot of stuff was still left in the room, including the desk and some decorations on the walls. Based on the decorations, it looked like we were in a fourth or fifth grade classroom. It was a very surreal to be inside of what was once an active classroom, where little kids would come to learn. Now nothing but a cold, dark, and abandoned room collecting dust waiting to be destroyed. The sounds of the thunder and lightning outside also added to the surreal feelings of it all. There were no lights on in the building. Power to the place was likely cut completely. We anticipated this through the flashlights on our phones were plenty to get around and see. Even without them, it was not completely pitch black in there, as even though it was a dark day, some light was still creeping in through the windows and doors. We started traversing the hallways, going from room to room. Each classroom was still full of desks and chairs that had not been sat in it. Probably a decade. We all four were in the same classroom when there was a sound that echoed down the hallway and into the classroom. We all went silent and turned off our lights for a moment. After a flash of lightning, we slowly accepted that it was probably nothing, so we continued on. We just went from room to room as our wet shoes all squeezed on the floor. Sneaking around was not possible. Really, a lot of things in the school were visibly decaying. You could really tell no one had stepped foot in there in ages. As we neared the corner of the hall, I turned around just to look back down the other way and at the doorway of one of the classroom. It looked like there was a something sticking out from the classroom. I asked my friend to also look. Their lights would maybe help see what it was. When all four of us were pointing our phone flashlights toward the door, whatever that things we were seeing was retracted into the classroom. All four of us quietly went off amongst ourselves and we started running down the intersecting hallway. We stopped when we were far enough away, it seemed. We were in the kindergarten wing now. Then we heard another sound echo from down the hallway. It seemed we were not alone, but who could be in here was the question. The place was locked up and every light in the building was off. The sound scared us into going into the first classroom we could find and shutting the door. It was indeed a kindergarten classroom. We were now concerned we had get in trouble, so we waited in silence with our flashlights off. The rain was still coming down hard. And there was still thunder and lightning crashing every 20 seconds or so. Suddenly, the door to the classroom clicked open and someone pushed it as it early creaked to a fully open position. We did not see anyone at the doorway through, and the hallway was almost pitch black. We all tried our best to stay quiet, and then slowly something appeared through the doorway. It was the shape of a head. We all saw it, and when there was another flash of lightning, we saw what it was. It was, in fact, someone's head looking into the classroom directly at us. I started apologizing for all of us, saying we are leaving. The person at the doorway did not move. They motionlessly and almost lifelessly just peered around the doorway in the classroom. Eddie asked, "Do you work here?" No response. Eddie had to this moment clearly. He handed me the bat as he struggled to unlock one of the windows to slide it open just enough to crawl through. The crawled out first, then my other two friends, and I was last before I crawled out. I looked back one more time at the head at the doorway. I crawled through as quickly as I could, fearing I had heard the person run up behind me and grab my legs. Once I was out, I ran to catch up with my friends who were already booking it back to the Eddie's car. We drove out of there in a hurry and never looked back. The building was torn down later that year and has since been turned into a park. We never got in trouble for breaking into this day. We have no idea if that was some kind of worker or just some random person. Either way, it was extremely creeping behavior on their part.